You know exactly what you're doing wrong, don't you? You've always known. Every conversation you ruin with unnecessary words, every relationship you damage by explaining yourself, every opportunity you sabotage by announcing your intentions. Deep down, you understand that your voice is your prison, so why do you keep talking? Why do you keep begging to be heard when silence would make you untouchable? If you're brave enough to face why you've chosen weakness, watch till the end. Most won't. The weak always cling to their voice because it's the only proof they exist. I don't need you to understand me. I stopped needing that a long time ago. While you were learning to express yourself, I was learning to observe. While you were building relationships through conversation, I was studying how to dissolve them without a word. I know exactly who you are. I know what you want. I know what you'll do before you decide. And I know all of this because I've mastered the one thing you'll never master: silence. Every word you speak is a window into your mind. You don't realize this, but I see through every window. I watch you squirm when you're uncomfortable. I notice the micro expressions you think you're hiding. I see the doubt in your eyes when you're lying. And I use all of this against you while you're still convinced that more talking will solve your problems. You think influence comes from being heard. You think power comes from convincing others. You think control comes from dominating conversations. You're wrong about all of it. I've never had to convince anyone of anything. I've never needed to win an argument. I simply exist in people's minds so completely that they reshape reality to accommodate me. They do my work for me. They become my weapons without ever knowing they're weapons. What makes you think you deserve to be understood? What makes you believe your perspective matters enough to demand an audience? Why do you keep broadcasting your thoughts like anyone's waiting to hear them? I've watched thousands like you, all of you desperate, all of you trying, all of you failing because you never learned the fundamental truth that the loudest voice in the room is always the weakest. If you're still listening, like this video, because most people have already closed this, unable to bear the recognition of their own irrelevance. I move through your world like you move through air. You don't feel the air. You don't think about it. It's just there, necessary for survival, but utterly invisible. That's how I move through your lives. You don't feel me until it's too late, and by then, the outcome is already written. You gather people around you because you're terrified of being alone. You fill silence with noise because emptiness exposes your insignificance. You talk because talking makes you feel like you matter. But I don't need any of that. I exist perfectly in solitude. I thrive in silence. I transform emptiness into power. Everything you run from, I've transformed into weapons. Every confession you've ever made to someone you trust is information I could use. Every secret you've ever kept is a vulnerability I could exploit. Every relationship you've ever valued is a target I could destroy. And I know all of this because you people can't help but talk. You're compulsively verbal. You believe transparency builds trust. In reality, transparency just creates targets. You want to be like me. You think you want my power. But do you have the discipline to never explain yourself again? Do you have the strength to watch people suffer without offering words of comfort? Do you have the capacity to manipulate someone you care about without a single moment of guilt? No, you don't. That's why you'll always be weak. Comment "I'm ready" when you accept that your voice has been destroying you. Silence isn't emptiness, it's precision. It's the absence of noise that allows you to hear everything. While you're talking, you're deaf. While you're explaining, you're blind. While you're trying to convince others, you're missing the information that would actually give you power. I gave up speech to gain sight. You're still talking in the dark. Most people think I'm lonely. They pity me for my isolation. They assume my quietness comes from pain or trauma. But they're wrong. My isolation is chosen. My quietness is strategic. My distance from human connection is not a sacrifice. It's a liberation. I'm free in ways you'll never comprehend because you're still bound by the need for others to know you exist. You measure your worth by how many people call you friend, how many people listen to your opinions, how many people seek your advice. But I measure my worth by how much I've accomplished without anyone's knowledge, by how thoroughly I've reshaped reality without anyone seeing my fingerprints, by how completely I've won while the world still thinks the game is being played. Every relationship you have is a potential point of failure. Every person who knows you is leverage someone can use against you. Every connection you've formed is a chain attached to your power. I severed all those chains, not cruelly, just completely, and now I move through the world, unattached, unaccountable, unstoppable. You want to understand me, but understanding requires connection, and I have no interest in connection. I have no need for you to see me clearly. I'm perfectly content with you misinterpreting my intentions while I execute them. In fact, your confusion is part of the design. While you're trying to figure out what I want, I'm already several steps into getting it. Share this video if you've ever realized that the person who talks the least is often the person running the show. If you've ever sensed that true power operates invisibly, the price of my silence is a specific type of loneliness that most humans can't endure. I will never be truly known by anyone. I will never experience the comfort of being fully understood. I will never have the warmth of someone seeing me completely and accepting me anyway. But I evaluated that cost against the alternative: being bound to people, constrained by connection, limited by the need for others' approval. The cost was worth paying. You're still hoping there's a compromise, that you can be strategic and selective with your words while maintaining meaningful connections, that you can have both power and intimacy. But those things are incompatible. Every attachment is a weakness. Every genuine connection is a vulnerability. You can have one or the other, not both. I chose power, and I chose it so completely that there's no part of me left that could even conceive of choosing differently. I'm not suppressing a desire for connection. I've deleted that capacity entirely. What you see when you look at me isn't restraint. It's reconstruction. I've rebuilt myself from the ground up to operate without the dependencies that bind the rest of humanity. Most people will watch this and think I'm describing a tragedy, a cautionary tale about the cost of ambition, but they're wrong. This isn't tragedy, this is clarity. This is understanding what actually matters and being willing to abandon everything else to achieve it. This is power in its purest form. You can keep talking. I'll keep moving silently through your world, reshaping it according to my design. You can keep seeking connection. I'll keep using your need for connection against you. You can keep trying to be heard. I'll keep listening, learning, and striking when you're most vulnerable. This isn't competition. It's asymmetrical dominance. You're playing checkers while I'm rewriting the rules of the game entirely. The final truth you need to understand: everything you believe about power is wrong. Power isn't loud, it's silent. Power isn't visible, it's invisible. Power isn't about being known, it's about knowing while remaining unknown. I am the architect of your reality, and you'll probably never know I was here. That's not a curse. That's the only victory that actually matters.